tonight on 2020.
As you've seen tonight, some Guinness records are inspiring, others ridiculous. But whatever they are, for many people, they illustrate lessons that can be applied to other parts of life. Lessons about chasing impossible dreams and making them come true. Once again, David Muir.
I was obsessed with the Guinness book. I remember reading it on the covers, my mom coming in and telling me to, stop reading that silly book.
Like so many children, Ashriта Furman couldn't put the book down, peeling back page after page. But the thought of actually making it onto one of those pages, not a chance.
I was terrible in sports. I always got picked for last. In fact, I almost failed high school, even though I was, really smart, because I cut gym class too many times.
You failed gym?
I failed gym.
But that same boy who couldn't get through gym class today holds more Guinness records than anyone else in the world. 10.5 hours straight of somersaults, the fastest mile of hula hooping in 15.5 minutes, and balancing a 55-foot pole on his chin for 13 seconds in an ancient coliseum.
I never set out to do this, but it just kind of happened to me, and it's been the greatest adventure I could ever have imagined.
All right!
I think officially at the moment I have 69 records.
And when you were flipping through the pages as a little boy, did you think that you could one day hold those records, or were you simply impressed by the people?
No, there's no possibility as far as I saw it. I had that ideal of attaining a record, but I knew it was impossible.
Impossible until Ashrita says he began studying meditation. His teacher, the late Sri Chinmoy, had legions of followers and convinced Ashrita that he himself could push past physical limits.
If you go deep within yourself, you have unlimited capacity in any field, including exercise and sports.
For Ashrita, it began with a 24-hour bike race in New York Central Park. 24 hours, unthinkable for the boy who hardly got on a bike as a child.
I went out there and I just started riding, and as soon as something would happen, like my legs would start getting tired, I started doing chanting, breathing exercises, visualization exercises. I ended up doing 405 miles, and I tried third place overall out of tens of thousands of people.
This is the nerd who was never an athlete.
This is the nerd, and I remember stumbling off the bicycle and saying, if I could do this, then I could break a Guinness record. I could fulfill my childhood dream.
And so his journey began.
The first thing that I tried to do was jumping on a pogo stick for the most continuous jumps. In the end, I did 100,000 jumps.
And that still wasn't enough, because with every Guinness World Record, there are specific rules, and Ashrita got it wrong. But he was not about to give up. He set his sights on another record, not broken in nearly a century.
There's a record in the Guinness book that had been set in 1892. It was for running on stilts. And so I said, okay, that would be a great record to break. It's more than 100 years old. And I started doing it, and it took me literally years to find the right stilts, find the right technique. But finally, I was in China, and I went out, and it was really fantastic because I knew here I was breaking a barrier.
And breaking his way into the Guinness World Record book, one record at a time.
That's 1 hour.
By standing on a Swiss ball for 2.5 hours, yeah, it's a silly thing.
Oh man, that's it.
I love it when they seem silly, because people laugh and they get joy, and yet it's tough.
Like the sack racing with the yak?
Oh, that was like one of my greatest of all time.
Go!
I was training for the sack racing mile, and I figured I'd set up a race against a yak in Mongolia. It was great. I had a disadvantage because it was at altitude. So I'm huffing and puffing, and then I realized, the yak is actually having a harder time than I am.
What happened to the yak?
At one point,
Yeah.
the yak couldn't keep up.
The yak disappeared, and they actually had to switch yaks. I burned that yak out. They got another yak, and finally he was keeping up, and in the end, I just barely passed him.
Racing in the sack against the yak.
Exactly. Well, the yak wasn't in the sack, it was just me.
Just you in the
just-
sack.
that
The
was-
yak without the sack.
We got to keep transcending. In fact, I'm just working on the orange nose push record right now.
That's right, the orange nose push.
You have to do it for a mile in the fastest time. You got to smack it with your nose. You got to jump up, run after the orange, get down on your hands and knees again, smack the orange.
Some people at home might just say, why?
When you do this, you're just totally getting out of the box. It's almost like you become a Superman.
But Ashrita hardly lives a superhero life. He's 53, single, and runs a health food store in Queens, New York, where he's still involved in his meditation community. But those Guinness records are his constant companion.
Do you have the Guinness phone number in your cell phone?
No.
But they know Ashrita.
Yeah, they do. Unfortunately, I think they know me too well.